Welcome once again to another edition of Making an Impact. Back. So I'm your host, as always, Chad Porto. Quick little tidbits and whatnots throughout the week. We've done 4 shows on the podcast network that is Mixlr, all of which can be found on iTunes and on our Podbeam at realnerdcorp.podbeam.com. Links are on the website. Go to realnerdcorp.com. Just explore. See what you find. There's some cool shit there. I do like 99% of it, except for the podcast. Those are always joint ventures. So go check it out. It'd be a big, cool thing for you to do. Okay? Okay. Monday we talked about... Was the Blake Griffin trade Monday? Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. We also talked about other sports things on Monday. I completely forgot what we talked about on Monday. It's been a long week. Tuesday, we tackled the Ronda Rousey. You can also see that on YouTube. The link to the full show is down below in the YouTube video to listen to the full 2+ hour podcast. Wednesday, Zach and I talked about this indie horror movie called Antisocial 2, and we reviewed Spring Stampede 2000. We are slowly making NerdCorp, the NerdCorp podcast, which is on Wednesdays, the old school, the old school throwback show. So we're going to be doing more, look backs, more retrospectives, more past ventures on that show. And then just earlier tonight, technically yesterday, Marcus and I talked about this week's Riverdale, this week's Flash and Arrow and Supergirl, and I think there was a Black Lightning. We also talked about Sky High and if Brian Michael Bendis can write Superman stories. All that and more on the ComicCorp podcast. All those shows, by the time you're listening to this on the YouTubes, will already be up on the website for you to check out. So do it. Do it. Just do it. As Palpatine would say, do it. Do it. Do it. So just do it. So this is Making an Impact, the once-a-week show where I talk about Impact Wrestling and all Impact Wrestling stuff. But there are some non-Impact things I want to get to, and I want to get to those first before I forget. First and foremost, I am loving the 10 pounds of gold that the NWA is doing. The current one just came out. It's essentially been confirmed that they've expanded from 3 to 4, or 6 if you count Corrigan and Lagana. It's Billy Corrigan, it's Dave Lagana, it's Tim Storm, Nick Aldis, Josephus, and confirmed Sam Shaw. I mean, he's not a big name, but Sam Shaw brings a lot of versatility. So he commentated on the Empty Arena match. He's doing some animations for the show. I have to assume that he's going to be more involved as the things progress. Also, I got to watch the House of Hardcore stuff still, so I have nothing to talk about there. Tomorrow on twitch.tv/RealNerdCorp, Swisher and I will be talking about this past weekend's set of shows in the New Japan world, as well as hearing his thoughts on the Rousey, because he's the only one I yet to tee off on that one. And some other stuff, I'm sure. I'm also going to have the entire... Oh, God, I can't believe I have to do this. The entire series of Wrestling Society X watched for tomorrow. So that's going to be fun. So if you want to hear what I have to think about Wrestling Society X and this past weekend's big events with Minoru Suzuki and Hiroshi Tanahashi and Jay White and Kenny Omega and the Bullet Club and all that nonsense, check out tomorrow's Twitch show. It's exclusively on Twitch, but then we export it. We were off last week, and I didn't export the weeks before that because we were both dead, and the show is just terrible. So I wanted to just accept that show is gone. It's technically available. Like I can make it available any minute, but it's just a terrible show. So I'm not going to do that. Over the last month and a half, we've had a nice influx. We've gone up about 125% in terms of views across all our platforms. I want to say thank you to all you guys for listening. We do most of this shit for free, and we don't charge you guys any, and we have very little revenue. So we do this as a passion project. One day we'll be making money off it, but it will still be free. So don't ever worry about that. If you like what we have to say, just share it. That's all I ask. That's all I ever ask. Just share it. Let other people know just how terrible we are, and that's really all you need to do. Hey guys, listen to these two fuckers. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Oh, good, thanks. I appreciate that. So on tonight's Impact, Making an Impact, it's not a big show, but it's a new show, and I don't mean that I'm not being hyperbolic. It's new era of Impact, and there's some things that I want to get to before we get into the actual results that I think are poignant. We'll get to the JB Rockstar Spud EC3 stuff later. Josh Matthews, ever since Don Callis and Scott D'Amore have come in, has done a better job emphasizing notes within matches. By notes, I mean moments, moves, those little spots that like really explain the story. JB has been, Flava Flav circa 1996 as far as long as I can remember. But his shtick is just getting obnoxious because it's always one volume. All right, calm the fuck down, JB. But Josh Matthews, with the addition of this new crew, has really or has been doing a better job, I should say, of really emphasizing the match. I really noticed it during Barbed Wire Massacre 3. He was really empathetic to both sides. During Genesis, he had this great kind of ambiance about the way he was describing some of these matches. And then tonight, he really hit some specific notes. The one that I think really stood out the most was when the LAX OVE segment started. He said, these two teams will hate each other forever. And I was like, that is the best way to sell that feud. Not with another brawl, but with a subtle statement that defines what they're doing. They are going to hate each other forever because that is what's written in their DNA. And I think that's an important thing to note. I do want to point out that we have 3 departures from Impact. One of them broke my heart when I found out she was gone. It was so sad. First and foremost, Falaba is a solo act going forward in Impact Wrestling. No more will he have Mario Baccarat as a tag team partner. He's gone, but he's also got a massive knee injury, so who even knows if he's going to come back. Idris Abraham, a Canadian, who I thought was going to stick around for a while, but apparently not. And the one that really hurt, Ava Story. I like her. She's young, though. It's not like she's like, oh, she's released. The end of her career. No, she's got a long road ahead of her. Can't wait to see what she does. Really hoping they bring her back, though. I don't know why they let her go. I mean, she's not as polished as the rest of the women. I get that. But there's something there, and they could really capitalize off that. But that's just my opinion. Also, they have a new stable coming in. It's called the Desi Hit Squad, which is made up of the former Hakeem Zayn, who's now going to be going out under a different name, and 3 Indian wrestlers I am not that familiar with. And they're going to be led by the individual who was signed a couple months ago, like 2 months ago. He's an Indian legend, but I forget his name. It's something that I've heard before. I just can't. I have to Google it. Hang on. I got this. The Desi Hit Squad led by Gama Singh. There it is, Gama Singh. The team is made up of Tony Cage, now using the name Gurshinder Singh, and Hakeem Zayn is now known as Rohit Raju. I think I've said that right. The group also featured 2 wrestlers from India who are on the Ring Ka King project. At least I think they're on the Ring Ka King project. I read that somewhere. I don't know if that's accurate. Vikas Kumar and god damn, Bhupinder Singh. I think I got that right. I like the idea of them going with a new stable made up of Indian wrestlers because, if you want to fudge it a little bit, John Bowling could be a quote unquote Canadian wrestler. Then you have Tyson Dukes, who's doing some work with the company. You have Petey Williams. So you're just one member away from Team Canada, and then you could have a Team USA, and hey, you're doing a deal with Team Noah, Team Pro Wrestling Noah, Team Japan. Oh, look at that! We have a team for the World X Cups. 14. Oh, how lucky are we? So if they go that route, yeah. If they don't go that route, yeah. But at least you're gonna have 4 wrestlers more capable than Mahabali Ali Shera. Maybe they'll bring back Shera. I doubt it because he never really got better. But that's interesting. Can't wait to see how that happens. One of these guys, I want to say it was Vikas Kumar, was trained by the Great Khali. When I saw that, I was like, So, you're retraining him, right? No, it was Bhupinder Singh. I'm sorry, it was Bhupinder Singh trained under the Great Khali. I was like, oh god, he's gonna learn how to do a fucking pancake and kill a guy. Oh god damn it, this is not gonna turn out well. I shouldn't be joking about that. The Great Khali actually did kill somebody by accident. That's not a joke. Now I'm just uncomfortable. So let's get into Impact this week, and then we'll talk about the defections to the E. First match, well, actually, I got a long recap of last week's show. We only had like 4 matches, and we got all 4 in minutes. So we had like a 4-minute promo to talk about last week's show. Then we open up with Matt Sydal and Falaba. I'm a fan of Bob because he's unique, he's different. I'm always very hesitant about wrestlers his size because that causes a lot of heart issues. So like on one hand I'm like, yeah, he's different, he's interesting, he's cool. On the other hand I'm also like, yeah, and he's gonna kill himself if he doesn't get in shape. So like I'm torn. I like him. I think he's got a great look, charismatic. I like the panda shtick. That's funny. But I'm just worried about his health at this moment because like serious weight is not a jokey thing. It's a very fundamentally very bad situation. Leads to a lot of heart issues. So I'm hoping he has a long, happy, healthy life. They have a good little match though. Seidel can work with anyone. I mean that's just the basic gist of the whole thing. Fallah Bob plays the stereotypical heel big man. Very fun little match because you don't get these kind of matches a lot in Impact. In the WWE, you have guys like Big Show and Mark Henry and the Great Khali and Big Daddy V, and you had so many big guys that it destroyed the uniqueness of the villain that they were being. But in Impact, outside of Fallah Bob, who's your biggest guy? Adonis, maybe Abyss, maybe Congo Kong now, but like that's a very small number, and they're not oversaturated like we would seeing in WWE for a while. Now with Braun Strowman, the reason why I think he's over it to the degree he is he's not competing with these guys anymore. Mark Henry and Big Show are barely part-timers. Undertaker wrestles once every year. Kane still goes, but he's no longer the big freak monster that we thought he once was. And then after that, you have maybe Brock Lesnar and then Jinder. And in comparison, they're not that big to guys like Fallah Bob or a Mark Henry type. So that's why I think Braun Strowman is over, and that's why I think Fallah Bob can get over because he's in a unique position. Fallah Bob goes for the Vader Bomb, misses, or maybe it wasn't the Vader Bomb. It was the Bonsai Drop, and then Matt Sydal hits the Shooting Star Press to get the one. Yada boom. So then we get backstage. Trevor Lee and Caleb Conley are wearing matching, or not matching, but similar, like not Hawaiian shirts, but ugly vacation shirts. And they're talking, and Caleb's all like, "I'm stressing. Lee, you don't got the belt no more. I don't know what we are." And Lee's all like, "Dude, I got this shit." We then go to KM versus Lashley. I was expecting a whole lot more out of this match. At least I was hoping. Because I was really digging the KM stuff with the American Top Team. I thought that was a great way to really market and produce and get KM into the spotlight by making him the pro wrestler of American Top Team. Have him beat Lashley. Have Dan Lambert as his mouthpiece and just have him like beat people left and right. They're going to go a drastically different direction by that because Lashley really didn't struggle too much with him, beat him in probably 5 minutes or so, which is disappointing. There was a great moment though where he shouts, "Who sucks now?" And then people are like, "You do." And Cam's like, "Oh, damn." So Lashley gets the win with a spear. At least I think it was a spear. Yeah, it was a spear. So he gets the win, blah, blah, blah. We then cut back to stuff from 2 weeks ago with Chandler Park talking about how he wants to be a wrestler. And he gets destroyed by Congo Kong. Outside, Joseph Parks, Chandler's cousin, is talking to Grandma Jenny. "Hey, Grandma, how you doing?" And Grandma Jenny's giving him the riot act about how Chandler's doing and how it's all his fault. Jimmy Jacobs walks up and Congo Kong's behind him. And Jimmy's like, "Hey, I want a bis. I want him next week. And I'm a princess, and I get what I want." And I like that he's calling himself a princess and that he gets what he wants to, because the negative connotation outside of the Disney model of princess is if you're a princess, you're spoiled. So Jimmy Jacobs is embracing that as a gender-neutral term, calling himself a princess, calling himself spoiled. I like that. Let's do it. More of that. We then get some Laurel Van Ness stuff, but ever since she decided she wanted to quit the company, I no longer really care. She was a great character, but not a great wrestler, so I don't feel like it's a big loss. I feel like that character was it was given so much time and built up so well that for her to bail, it sucks. But Sue Young's coming in, so I'm like, an improvement. So I'm not that mad. We get backstage. Lashley says for months he's had to decide between MMA and wrestling. Now he's going to focus on both. Eddie Edwards is nearby, and he's like, "What's up?" And Lashley's just like, "What's up?" And then he walked away. He didn't actually say "what's up," but I saw it in his eyes. We get Laurel Van Ness versus the debuting Kiera Hogan. Kiera had been signed for a good 7 months at least. She came out in this little white and red flame number, and she looked like Booker T's illegitimate daughter, and I'm just like, "You are adorable. How are you doing?" She was cute. She had this big personality on her. I thought she was awesome. She moved really well in the ring. Great aesthetics, like the caramel skin with the red hair. She had this little like blonde furl and the white suit. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm a big fan of just aesthetics. The way colors and skin tones and personalities all kind of blend into one can really solidify a gimmick. That's why I've never been an Austin Aries guy, because he's black trunks, facial hair, white dude, crew cut. But as Austin Starr, he was flamboyant and colorful, and he really got into a character. So I think Kiera Hogan's going to be huge. Kiera ends up getting the win after Allie comes out, and Allie's all like, I'm a big girl now. Huh. Or something like that. She was inaudible, so you don't really know what she said. But she caused a distraction. Kiera Hogan got the win. And then Chelsea Green starts screamed. That was a slip. Laurel Van Ness starts screaming at Kiera Hogan and Allie as the two embrace. They look like a fun little tag team. I'm really hoping they bring back the Knockout Tag Team titles, because I want to see a Demon Buddy Tag Team title reign, because I think that would be hilarious. Those two are gold together. So, just throwing it out there. We get a little hint at a mystery man. Wonder who that is. More on that later. We then go backstage, and Mackenzie's talking with Alberto El Patron, and Alberto is like, you're very pretty, and you're very smart, but next time start with me first. EC3 jumps in, says, just follow my lead, I got this. I didn't care. I like EC3, and I'm going to enjoy the hell out of him in the WWE. It gives me a reason to watch NXT, at least when he's on. But Alberto will always just be a charisma vacuum. Like, in the ring, he will always be a 3-star dude, like, at least. Like, he walks in with a brown paper bag, an empty bottle of whiskey, and a broken teeter-totter, and he's going to have a 3-star match, at least. But when he talks, I just lose all desire to care. Just put me to sleep, man. We then go out. It's LAX in the ring. Talking about a way to rejuvenate Alberto. Hey, turn LAX heel. I mean, they really should be heels. They're drug runners. They're pimps. They're pushing drugs. They're gangsters. Yet they're cheered. I don't know. It's just one of those things. So LAX is in the ring. Conan starts talking shit. They're still serious like a late period. They're the blue pill of pro wrestling. They stay hard all the time. Blah blah blah. Starts making fun of OVE in the most generic middle school insults. Oh, they're over easy. Oh, I'm like, come on, dude. Like, that's some weak sauce. OVE comes out and Sammy Callahan's doing his Sammy Callahan voice. What's up? Down by the river. Sometimes I can't take that little scratchy voice seriously. He just sounds so adorable. He's about my height, maybe shorter, so I can say he's adorable. Pat him on the head. I like Sammy Callahan. I like OVE, all jokes aside. The group is great. Add Desmond Xavier. They're all real-life best friends. You can give Desmond a look, a shtick that makes sense. You can make them the Impact Wrestling 2018 version of DX. Just have them do all kinds of outlandish shit. Stop making them so like, oh, we're emo. We're trying to bring back Hawthorne Heights and the Used. No, like skip that shit. Go into the hardcore punk variety and just have them trash it. Have an entire episode where Desmond Xavier with OVE comes out and just starts like destroying things in the middle of a match because they can. Make them outlaws, not bitches. Please? For me? I don't ask for much. And I never get the things I want, so, I mean, like, please? What I did like, though, about this segment, what it did very well, is it set LAX and OVE as the benchmarks. And there hasn't been benchmarks in Impact Wrestling's tag team division since the Machine... Actually, to be fair, if you want to be accurate, since the days of Triple X and American Most Wanted. Because after that, when you got Beer Money, Machine Guns, and Team 3D and all them, you never knew who was the top two teams. Who were the top two dogs? Well, we've established that tonight. LAX, OVE. So OVE cuts their little promo, says we're gonna give you guys a break, because otherwise we're gonna kill each other. And as they're leaving, Conan decides to keep taunting him because Conan, like in storyline, is a real bitch. And as he's taunting them. You're Ohio versus nothing. Over nothing. Brr, 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 brr. Trevor Lee and Caleb Conley come busting out the crowd and start whooping ass. And that's how the segment ends with Caleb Connolly and Trevor Lee leaving as LAX regroups in the ring. It was super great because it makes Trevor Lee and Caleb Connolly into a very interesting tag team dynamic because they don't really fit into the mold of what we were just getting. But Trevor Lee's a 3-time X Division champion, a former Impact Wrestling tag team champion. He's 23 and he's quickly developing quite a trophy case. So it's going to be interesting to see what he and Caleb Connolly will do in the ring with LAX. I've heard nothing but great things about their matches, so next few weeks should be really fun to watch. We get Mackenzie with Moose and Johnny Impact. Moose does this great little shtick where he's like, I'm here with Johnny Impact. I think that's cool. They're goofy. I like that. That's good stuff. They're cutting some shticks, and Johnny puts himself over. Moose puts himself over. Johnny then cuts a promo in Spanish, going after Alberto El Patron, blah, blah, blah. Do good stuff. We then get the Global Force Wrestling flashback moment of the week, and it's EC3 versus Drew Galloway in a street fight. This is fine. I wasn't a big fan of that match when it first aired. I'm not a big fan now. The Pluto TV segment of the week was the Abyss attack on Christian Cage at his Florida home in 2006 to set up their lockdown match. It didn't work then. It didn't work now. Although that little segment was awesome because James Mitchell had the best line ever. Abyss, you can't win the title from a dead man. And I'm like, well, technically it'd be vacant, but fair point. Fair point. So I completely dug that. And then we got a vignette for the upcoming Brian Cage debut. They used some stock stuff that we've seen before. I think the blown away cityscape that they used, I think was used in a Sting promo package like in 2011, I think. I'll have to double check that. We then get the alleged main event, these all-star main event. It's EC3 and El Patron versus Moose and Johnny Impact. It was fine. El Patron, and EC3, they're a weird pair. EC3 is not the best of the... Well, he's better than Moose, but not by much. So you weren't going to get that exciting of a tag match. And with very little going on outside of the fact that EC3 and Moose are kind of feuding, and Alberto and Johnny Impact have been feuding, but it's not really a blood feud. This match didn't really have any gravitas. So the match itself was just kind of, it was... If Impact had a Saturday night, had a WCW Saturday night type show where you just watch matches with very little development, that's what this match felt like. That's where this match should have been. Double stomp by Alberto, but Alberto gets hit by a clothesline by Moose, and Moose and Johnny Impact get the win. So big win for Moose. So there you go. We then get the Eli Drake Facts of Life segment. This was fine. A lot of video packages and some stuff between him and Don. We're both best friends, but I'm the bestest of best friends. Thanks, Eli. As he's talking, he says, I'm the best man. I'm the greatest man that's ever been. There ain't no one in this company that can take that away from me. And then Austin Aries is like, bitch, hold my banana. And Austin Aries walks out eating his banana. And then he throws his banana. Then he gets in the ring and he's like, I bet I can beat you. And Eli's like, I bet I can beat you. And then they're like, well, how about we do a match? And then he's like, all right, let's fucking do a match. And then Donna's like, this is a bad idea. Turned out to be a bad idea because about 80 seconds later, Austin Aries hit a brain buster for the win. Brain buster. I know some people are going to be upset about this. But here's the fact of the matter. I'm actually all right with this because this does not make Eli look bad. And I know some people are going to be like, oh, Eli got jammed out. He lost in 80 seconds. Eli's beaten Johnny Impact. He's beaten Eddie Edwards. He's beaten Moose. He's beaten Alberto El Patron. He's beaten Lashley. I think he beat Lashley. He's beaten every top guy in Impact. He's gone on the road to that belt and win every match he was in. Austin Aries pops up out of nowhere, beats him into street clothes out of a random happenstance. It's not so much a loss as it is a surprise. It's not the big detrimental jobbing out some people have made it out to be. It's a very interesting feud because now it sets Eli Drake up to have a chip on his shoulder. Can't be champion forever. There's just no story in that. Plus, little hint, you're going to be seeing stuff with Eli Drake and Scott Steiner eventually. Not going to tell you what they're doing. But if the idea of Eli Drake and Big Papa Pump doesn't get you excited, there's nothing I can do for you, Haas. You're on your own at that point. Finally, good show. Not great. The change to the four-sided ring I thought was fine. It looked bigger than past four-sided rings. I don't know if it's actually bigger, but if it is, good. Maybe they're just shooting it differently, and if they are, good. It just made it feel bigger, and that was the problem I always had with the old four-sided ring, is it felt small. So that was fine. The change back to the blue was fine. I liked the green, but with them, distancing themselves from the Impact, from the Global Force brand, I understand that. Also, at one point, it was when Austin Aries won the belt, the announcer was very specific to say, "and new Impact World Heavyweight," and I was like, yes, they got rid of that stupid global name, because what a dumb fucking name. So all that's pretty interesting. So let's talk about the defecting three, the feud of the year for 2016. I shit you not. Jeremy Borash, EC3, Rockstar Spud, all left Impact. We're all part of that amazing feud in 2015, 2016, where Rockstar Spud and EC3 had that violent first blood match, and JB gets his head shaved. Like, oh, that was some of the best wrestling I've seen in a long time. Well, they all have new jobs. Jeremy Borash is going to NXT to serve as a writer and producer down there. He may do commentary, but that's not his initial goal. He will not be working with the Woken Matt Hardy stuff. They want to make the Woken stuff their own, and they don't want to include things that were synonymous with the Impact brand. EC3 will be starting on the NXT brand as well, but not for a little while, I'm told. The part of the, and like some people are like, whoa, what is the Impact going to do? Are they going to edit EC3 out? Why the fuck would they? One of their biggest stars, who's still airing on their television show, is now on their opposition channel. All you got to do is be like, you want to see current NXT star EC3? We got him on air. Come check us out. Brilliant marketing maneuver. The fact that the WWE would even be dumb enough to put him on screen when he still has 2 months of television left on Impact makes them seem so fucking stupid. Because you're giving your opponents free advertisement. It's not like you're working with Evolve. This is Impact, a very different company. And you don't have a working relationship with them. So this is like a dumb maneuver on the WWE's part. And I don't know why they did it. It's not like you couldn't have waited until the WrestleMania weekend to debut them. And by the way, they should have debuted all three of these guys in a vastly different way, but that's neither here nor there. Although I will tell you how I would have done it. That's forthcoming. And Rockstar Spud joined up as something younger or Drake or something stupidly generic. And Maverick. Drake Maverick! And I saw that. I was like, that's fucking stupid. And even Rockstar Spud couldn't say with a straight face. Oh, that was a joke. I love Rockstar Spud. He's a great personality, and I actually tuned in 205 Live just to watch him. I skipped through all the matches because who the fuck cares? They're all the same goddamn match. But Rockstar Spud was just a treat. And him and Drew Gulak were hilarious together. By the by, Rockstar Spud's like 5'1", so that makes Daniel Bryan no taller than me. So I think that's hilarious. And if Daniel Bryan's no taller than me, then Shawn Michaels got to be 5'9", which makes Triple H barely 6 foot. So I think this is funny. This is going to ruin so many guys' perceptions. It's great. So it was what it was. It was a fine little debut for Spud. But I would have debuted all three of them, or at least Spud and EC3 on the main roster as wrestlers, and well, at least EC3 as a wrestler. Because EC3 doesn't need to be in NXT. That's a dumb decision. Debut him either against The Miz or John Cena. And build to a WrestleMania match where either EC3 wins the Intercontinental Championship in his first match at WrestleMania, or he beats John Cena in his first match at WrestleMania. EC3's 33, 34. It's not like he's old. He's got a good 10 years in him as a near top guy kind of situation. Why not? Shit, I mean, if Minoru Suzuki can be the third best dude in New Japan at 49, I mean, I don't think asking someone to work well into their mid-40s is that much of a stretch. I would have had Spud be his manager, and those two, if you ever saw their Impact work together, are brilliant together. And then eventually I would have brought in Jeremy Borash with the duo somehow later on down the road. I think that would have been a better way to get these characters over. And for whatever reason, this company does not have any respect for the notoriety and name value that these individuals had prior to them coming into this company. And I don't know why. Bobby Roode did not need to be in NXT. That was one of the dumbest things they've ever done. Austin Aries didn't need to be in NXT. Again, one of the dumbest things they've ever done. And it's not like them being in NXT did anything for NXT or for themselves or even for others. It didn't do anything. Nothing Sami Zayn did with Neville elevated one or the other. Oh, they had a really good match. Yeah, but Neville then went straight to the mid-card on the main roster, and no one cared. It wasn't like Neville was getting Zack Ryder 2012, pops when he came out. People were like, oh, okay, whatever. Then he found his voice and became somewhat entertaining. Sami Zayn was El Generico, and we all thought, and to this day, I still think El Generico is an upgrade over Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn's a fucking vacuum of entertainment. Like, goddamn. Every time he's on TV, I'm like, oh, it's a black hole. What's happening? I can't see anything. So I don't see why some of these bigger names are going through NXT at all. It makes no sense to me. Like, Ricochet makes sense because that dude is the worst promo guy I've ever heard. War Machine makes sense because they're very accustomed to a certain style. You got to relearn the pro wrestling style that WWE wants. Makes sense. I get it. Plus, you already have the War Machine on the main roster. They're called the Bludgeon Brothers and the Good Brothers. So I feel like just throwing them on the main roster would kind of confuse people. So the EC3 thing just didn't make any sense, and I'm kind of miffed about that. But whatever. I really do hope they use him well because this dude has all the potential in the world to be a big-time draw. But we know how the WWE works with big-time draws. They drop them. So, in the comment section down below, you tell me how you like the Austin Aries title win. That's one question. You tell me if you like the Brian Cage potential debut. Tell me if you like my idea for EC3, how the WWE debuted EC3, or if you have a better idea for EC3. Also, down in the comment section down below, because we haven't asked, so I'm going to ask now. Tell me what you think about the Ronda Rousey signing. I think it works. I think it makes sense. I like the way they did it. And everyone who says, well, Ronda Rousey took away from Asuka's moment is stupid. Because they don't realize that Ronda Rousey gave Asuka her moment. The moment wasn't her winning the Rumble. The moment was when Asuka, a wrestler who would never be featured on ESPN, was shown on loop for 3 days, essentially, standing in that ring with Ronda Rousey's hand in her face, and she smacks it away. That moment was on every news cycle in the sports world for like 3 days. That's more mainstream exposure Asuka would have ever have gotten. So don't sit here and say, Ronda Rousey took away Asuka's moment. Because Asuka's now someone people know. They will recognize her because of that moment. So, I'm not even a Ronda Rousey fan. I'm just saying, like, there's some legitimacy to why they did it the way they did. And I thought it worked. Plus, that first point was just so fucking seductive. I don't even think Ronda Rousey's that sexy, but the way she did it, I was just like, yeah, that works. So, as always, be sure to like if you want. I don't care. Share it, please. That'd be nice. Comment if you want. If you got something you got to say, just say it. It's down there. Gave you the 4 topics you can comment on. Go ahead. Download all the other shows that we did throughout the week by going to realnerdcorp.com, REALNERDCORP. Check that out. Tomorrow, twitch.tv/realnerdcorp at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Any change in days or time will be reflected on Twitter, so keep an eye out on the Twitter page at NERDCORP. The links to the website and the Twitter page are down below. Everything else is gravy, man. You guys have a nice night. See you, I guess, whenever. I don't know. Got no way to end the show. Never do. It's a hodgepodge of just chaos, so, whatever. Bye. Or not bye. I don't care. Do whatever you want. I'm not your boss.